All right, Brian. Well, we're getting down to nut cutting time, as JR would say, and that's apropos because they brought JR out to do color for the double main event, the world title match and the world tag team title match. And you know, I don't know why they wait until people have seen every possible thing in the world before they trot JR out. Otherwise, if he'd been out there this whole time, he would have already either gone to sleep or been so impatient he would have been openly knocking everything.
You know what? This was the most energy I think we've heard from him in a very long time.
Well, it was a big night, big moment. He was, I'm sure, trying to get up for it with all of his health issues he's had and everything. But God, I wish he had something better to work with. Here you've got the artiste who paints in voice, and he's got a canvas of fucking mud. Anyway, the world title match, the three-way, triple threat, whatever, Hangnail Page, Swerve Strickland, and Samoa Joe. Instead of getting Joe and Swerve, Hangnail had to worm his way into this thing and spoil it, and now I don't particularly care about seeing Joe and Swerve as much because we've already seen them a lot in this because there was a lot of everybody in this because this again went easily 20 minutes fucking bell to bell or more. And they just had, again, they had an 8-way as a preliminary match when they knew they had a 3-way for their world title match. And I don't care if you like the matches or not. You can sit there as a fan and like the matches. But as a professional, I'm offended with the way that he puts his shows together. I'm offended not only as a former booker, but I'm offended as a former talent for the current talent that has to suffer the way Tony fucking books in his goddamn deranged mind. So it's disrespectful. Anyway, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, Brian, but it was 3 guys taking turns doing moves to each other. And they would double power bomb Joe, and then they'd start punching each other without selling it. Or Page was punching Swerve, and Swerve was laughing at him while he was doing it. And then Swerve knocks Joe out with a kick, but doesn't cover him. He stands there and waits for 25 seconds and then kicks Page in the head and covers him and gets a 2 count. And then Page disappears and Joe and Swerve fight. And at one point, did you see where he knocked Joe down with some kind of move and Joe was selling. And he sits there for 15 seconds in one place staring at Swerve climbing the ropes, standing on the top, and coming off and giving him a double stomp. He was sitting there looking at the man, sitting in the position to be stomped forever. And then
he couldn't believe what he was seeing. So he froze.
I wish I could say I was frozen. I was vibrating. And then when Swerve covers Joe, he gets a 2 count, and Page is supposed to pull the referee out, but he's late, so Joe has to kick out anyway. Then Page pulls the referee to the floor, and the referee is going to sell being pulled to the floor for the next 5 minutes. There are people been in serious car accidents that have been able to at least get up and climb up the fucking hill, but the referee sells forever. Then Page gets the belt. And he hits Swerve in the head with it. And he stands there for 15 seconds, and then he hits him again. And then he goes out to the apron and yells at Swerve. And then he puts the belt down on the apron because he's finished using it. The match isn't over, but he doesn't figure he'll need it anymore. While this is going on, Joe has stood up and started staggering because he knows he's supposed to get buckshot lariated. But apparently he didn't know that Page was not only going to hit Swerve once with the belt, he's going to go over and hit him again. Then he's going to go out on the apron and fucking yell at him. Then he's going to turn around and get set for the buckshot. And Joe has been having to stagger this whole time. And Page goes for the buckshot, and he hits it. He hits it. Joe just stands there and lets him hit it. And then another one. And then he covers, but Tony Schiavone, who, by the way, we've established is a year or two older than me. He's a 60-something-year-old white man who then screams, "There's no referee, dude." Brian, if I ever said the word dude while I was doing commentary on a major television wrestling promotion, I would want to be shot in the back parking lot like Old Yeller.
I wish someone would shoot Schiavone and Excalibur to the moon. They kill every broadcast they kill. They have the best time laughing at things when it's serious. And then when it's serious, you can't take them serious. Schiavone just yells out compliments. And Excalibur is one of the all-time worst.
Well, fortunately, a new referee came in about then. The old one had only been down for about 3 or 4 minutes. And the cover, but the 2 count because Joe kicked out. So then Joe ducks the third buckshot and gets a choke, but Swerve breaks it up. Well, then Nana gives Swerve the crown, and Swerve's going to use it, but then he thinks better of it and throws it back, and Joe gets a choke on Swerve. And Swerve rolls him up for a 2 count, but Page jumps off, or jumps in, rather, and instead of making the save, he jumps on the second referee and beats him up, just over and over, boom, 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 and throws him to the floor. So then everybody lariats everybody, and Swerve dropped Page on his head, and Joe suplexed Swerve and got the choke on Page, and the original referee, who is finally conscious, comes in, and Joe's got the choke on Page, and Page taps out. Another 20 unending minutes, and is Tony insisting on these finishes, or do these guys think that they're good? Because Joe knows better than this overbooked horse shit. That's what happened. So we beat the guy that shouldn't have been in the match to begin with and nobody wanted to see. So now I guess he thinks, well, we can still have Joe and Swerve, but in the meantime, we've seen plenty of Joe and Swerve now. The mystery is over there. What'd you think?
I kind of agree with what you said. I'm not a big fan of these 3-way matches. Wasn't a big fan of this one. I wasn't a big fan of this feud and this build-up. At least Adam Page now is clearly a heel to anyone who was doubting it. Swerve is clearly a babyface, as he's been. And I guess
with a manager.
And I guess this all continues, or at least their hatred of each other continues, and Joe gets a new challenger, maybe Wardlow or someone else.
Wow.
Yeah. But we still have the main event.
We certainly do. And isn't that sad? Who is going to challenge for the world title that we would give a shit about at this point?